research, the man who first described them, he was in a tent or something and he heard the sound of them and it's scary.
Yeah, so the sound, basically. So when some of the first European people came to Tasmania, they didn't know anything about the environment, and they started hearing this demonic scream and they were petrified. At the time, Tasmania was already considered to be hell on earth. It was the last place in the world any of them wanted to be. And so they actually came to the conclusion that the island was haunted by demons and ghosts. And they believed that for several years before they actually saw this animal for the first time. When they did, the black body, the red ears, the white sharp teeth, combined with their social and eating behaviours, unfortunately just instilled their beliefs. So they named them the devil. And even that is quite unfortunate, because people associate bad things with the word devil. They assume, even today, where we know so much more about them, that they are savage, aggressive, vicious, dirty hunters. And that could not be further from the truth. They are incredibly shy. If you were to try to find one in the wild, you've really got to know how to find them. They can smell up to 2 kilometres away on a calm day, so they're going to be running away from you long before you get close. If they happen to be cornered for whatever reason, they don't attack, they freeze, they pretend to be dead. Researchers now, they set up very humane traps for devils, and they don't need to sedate them. They can actually handle them while they're fully awake, because they are such sooks. They really are. It's a little bit different in captivity, of course, because they're very used to people, and they do have a very strong jaw, and that's what makes them a little bit dangerous. But in the wild, yeah, you're very unlikely to come this close to a devil. Now, they are an amazing animal. Their biology is very interesting. So they're now classified as the world's largest living carnivorous marsupial, where marsupial means that they raise their young inside a pouch. All species of marsupial have varying gestation or pregnancy periods. They're all very short in comparison to humans. Does anyone know what the length is for a devil? No? 18 to 21 days. 3 weeks. Before the ladies get too jealous, the catch is that they give birth to between 20 and 40 babies. Now, because there is such a short gestation, the babies are still embryos when they are born. They are the size of a grain of rice. So I have in here just some grains of rice as a bit of a visual example. So 20 to 40 of these little guys race each other into the pouch, and up to 4 can survive. On average, they'll have 2 or 3 that make it, but basically it's survival of the fittest. The strongest, the ones with the best genes, are the ones to make it there. Now, they can't share those treats. It is a survival mechanism, an instinct for a joey to attach itself to the teat. And their jaw actually fuses shut over it. So that's why I mentioned, if you find a joey attached to the teeth, don't try to pull it off. because you can actually break their jaw in trying to do so. So they can't come off. They don't have a choice. So they'll stay there attached, growing. The pouch is essentially an outer wound. Now they'll stay there for between 4 to 6 months for the devil. And once they're too big for her, they'll climb onto her back and she'll carry them around there. And when she can't handle carrying them anymore, she'll leave them inside the home, which we call a den. And they'll make use of all types of different materials as dens, hollow logs on the ground, caves. They might even do some digging on their own. And at that point is when they are starting to wean. So they're coming into their solid food, and they are a carnivore, but they're not built to hunt. An average speed for a devil is about 14 kilometers an hour. That is about the same as a chicken. So they're not chasing after wombats at 40 kilometers an hour or kangaroos at 60. They're relying on weak prey. Their eyesight is also quite poor. So again, not an adaptation for a skilled hunter. So their role in the environment is to be our cleaner. They're our hoovers. They eat carrion, carcasses, and they take away any sick or weak animals from the ecosystem. Now, they are built to consume everything of a body. So they have these incredibly strong jaws and also a very powerful digestive system, because they have to crunch through bones. They have to eat food that's been sitting there for potentially, 3 days, maybe a week, maybe even like a month. They're eating this really gross food. But that is their role. And in the past, when we had the Tasmanian tiger, that animal was most likely doing the hunting, and these guys were cleaning up after them. So a very similar relationship that the lion and the hyena share in Africa. So we don't want to lose them because they are so important, but they are under threat. And there's several reasons for it. First is habitat loss. Of course, for all animals it's an issue, losing their homes. Secondly is predation by domestic pets such as dogs. A lot of people think that a dog would be worse off in a devil attack, but as I've described, they're incredibly shy, and I've seen some horrific dog attacks on Tasmanian devils. And then thirdly, you've got roadkill. So in Tasmania we lose around 500,000 animals a year to roadkill alone, and because devils scavenge, they come onto the road and become secondary victims, and we lose around 1,000 devils a year just to roadkill. So that's where you guys stopping and pulling an animal off the road has the potential to save future lives. And the big threat, which I'm sure most of you at least have heard of, is a disease, the devil facial tumour disease. It's wiped out around 80% of the wild devil population since its discovery in 1996, and it has spread like a virus. So it is spread when they socially interact with each other, but it's actually classed as a contagious cancer. It's one of the world's very few known contagious cancers. Lots of research has gone into it, of course, and only the other day they had a bit of a breakthrough, which is very exciting. They discovered that devils can be cured that have the disease, but they're in very early stages of that. And of course there's a breeding program to ensure that they are around in the future. Bonorong is part of that. We've got a boy next door that was born last year, and we're hoping, fingers crossed, that one of our girls is pregnant at the moment, but we'll wait to see. So a beautiful species that has a very unfortunate name, effectively, and doesn't deserve the reputation that it has. But we'll do everything we can to keep fighting for them. So do any of you have any questions?